History is not written by the victors. Sometimes it is cut by a bullet, small, cold, but carrying the weight of an era. On April 4th, 1968, America held its breath. A black man fell on the balcony of the Lorraine Hotel, carrying with him the dreams of millions, and behind the gun, not a giant, not a secret organization with hundreds of hands, but a nameless name, James Earl Ray. He was not a symbol, not a warrior, he was a shadow, pale, lost, and dangerous. This story does not seek to justify. It does not seek to condemn. It simply traces the dusty tracks of time, a rotten childhood, a fractured mind, a life haunted by hatred and fear. Because to understand the gunshot, we must walk the long road that led to it. And now, let's begin. A shard from the white bullet. James Earl Ray was born in 1928 in Alton, Illinois, a dusty, impoverished town where dreams were often crushed by the harshness of life. Ray's family was large, poor, and full of conflict. James grew up in a suffocating environment where love was a luxury and violence was the common language. He dropped out of school, began petty theft in his teenage years, and quickly spiraled into a life of incarceration as if it were his destiny. He had no dreams, no friends, no faith. All he knew was how to run from the law, from sorrow, from himself. A crack in the brain. James Earl Ray curled up in the cold cell of Missouri State Penitentiary, where the only light came from a dim yellow bulb. He had been there since 1959 for a botched bank robbery, but it wasn't his first. Crime followed crime. As for his soul, it was filled only with smoke, hunger, and disordered dreams. He didn't read philosophy. He didn't care for art. He was obsessed with world maps, images of guns, and the notion of the white race being threatened. In his mind, a voice whispered constantly, "They are replacing you. You're no longer American. You're a shadow, and only violence can make you real again." One day, while cleaning the prison kitchen, he saw a bread delivery truck. An idea sparked. Hide in the bread crate and escape when the truck left the facility. He carried it out like a ghost, silent, unnoticed. Once free, Ray didn't return home or seek work. He began a secret life, drifting from estate to state under dozens of aliases and forged papers, with a blooming hatred in his mind. Eyes turned to a black man. In 1967, amidst the civil rights and anti-war storms, James Earl Ray began paying attention to the name Martin Luther King Jr. He saw King on television, calm voice, resolute eyes, and thousands of black and white people clapping together. To Ray, this wasn't inspiration. It was a threat. That black guy wants to change America. He wants to become president. Destroy my race. If no one does anything, I will. He began collecting every article, every travel plan of King's, to the point of obsession. He planned. No one knew his exact motive. No one funded him. There was only a shadow in his mind. To be remembered by history, you must kill a legend. At the end of 1967, Ray changed his name to Eric S. Galt, a clean, polite name, easy to blend in. He drove down south, following King from Atlanta to Selma, then to Memphis. And there he waited. Memphis, the city of death. April 3rd, 1968. Memphis was draped in spring rain. James Earl Ray rented a room at the Bessie boarding house directly across from the Lorraine Motel. From his window, he could clearly see room 306, where Martin Luther King Jr. was staying. He cleaned his Remington 7.60 Game Master rifle and attached a scope. Beside it, binoculars, King's travel schedule, and a single box of bullets. No backup. One bullet would suffice if he was a good shot. April 4th, light sunshine, wind brushing the second-floor balcony. At 6 p.m., King stepped out of his room. He wore a white shirt, black pants, chatting with Jesse Jackson and friends. He laughed, a gentle, kind laugh, unaware that in seconds it would become a final farewell. Bang! The gunshot sliced through history. The bullet tore through King's throat, severing the aorta, shattering his collarbone. He collapsed, eyes still open, blood pouring from his mouth. Jesse Jackson screamed. Panic erupted, telephones, cries, running footsteps, all merged into a chaotic symphony of death. James Earl Ray dropped the rifle and fled, never looking back. The fleeing ghost Ray left everything behind. The gun, binoculars, fingerprints, but he had prepared. A Mustang waited in the parking lot. He crossed state lines, changed license plates, shaved, and put on sunglasses. The FBI found the weapon just an hour after the assassination. With evidence at the scene, they quickly identified him. His face appeared on TVs across America. Long face, sharp nose, eyes like a cobra. Nationwide manhunt. Ray fled to Atlanta, then Toronto, forged a passport as Ramon George Sneyd, and headed to the UK. He lived like a ghost. No friends, no contact. Every day was an escape, every night a nightmare. But on June 8th, 1968, at Heathrow Airport in London, he was stopped while trying to board a plane to Rhodesia. His passport raised suspicion. He trembled as police approached. "What's your name?" Ramon Sneyd." "No, you're James Earl Ray." And the ghost of Memphis was dragged back to reality. A confession in an iron cage, Nashville, summer of 1968. The courtroom was packed, sweat, cigarettes, and rage thick in the air. On the stand, James Earl Ray sat silently in gray striped prison garb, hands cuffed, hollow eyes avoiding everyone. The assassin gave no defense, no plea. He simply confessed, "I, James Earl Ray, admit to killing Martin Luther King Jr." Shock, but more strangely, no public trial, no witness hearings, no debates. His lawyer, Percy Foreman, had secured a plea deal, a life sentence instead of the death penalty. After just 99 minutes in court, Ray was sentenced to life in prison. But 3 days later, he suddenly withdrew his confession. "I didn't kill Martin Luther King. I'm just a scapegoat." He began talking about a man named Raoul, a shadowy figure with no nationality, no proof, no image. According to Ray, Raoul had given him the rifle, paid him to follow King, then vanished after the shooting. Ray was merely a piece of a conspiracy. The media went wild. The public was divided. The FBI remained silent. And Martin Luther King was still dead. Prison and the slow death. James Earl Ray was held at Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary, a cold stone fortress deep in the Tennessee mountains, where screams at night echoed unanswered. He spent 30 years there. Every day he filed appeals. Every week, a new version of the assassination. Raoul became his haunting ghost. I met Raoul at a bar in Montreal. He had CIA ties. I didn't pull the trigger. I was just nearby. There was the mafia, Cuba, even Hoover. No one believed him, but no one could prove him wrong either. Sealed files, vanished witnesses, unanswered questions. In 1977, Ray escaped with 6 other inmates but was recaptured after 54 hours. He grew paranoid, believing guards wanted to kill him, that he was being poisoned, that the FBI had microphones in his pillow. Strangely, Martin Luther King's family, especially his son, Dexter King, came to believe Ray was not the killer. They visited him in prison, looked into his eyes. "Did you kill my father?" "No." "I believe you." The world was stunned. In his final days, James Earl Ray curled up in the prison hospital bed. His body rotted from hepatitis C, skin yellowing, fingernails purple. He no longer shouted about Raoul. He no longer claimed innocence. Only hollow eyes stared at the cracked ceiling. No heaven above, just stone, like the mind that had once shattered history. On April 23rd, 1998, James Earl Ray died at age 70. No tears, no farewell, only a cold gravestone etched with his name, no glory, no forgiveness.